Hi guys, I just wanted to make a quick response to a post on the Guild Wars 2 Guru forums. This is concerning competitive PvP. Now, I've been a competitive PvP player in WoW for quite some time, although I have to say I quit a number of months ago, for exactly the reason that I'm going to cover in the video. Now, I completely agree with what this guy is saying, that I think the current system Guild Wars or ArenaNet are looking to put into place does seem a little sketchy, and certainly I would like to see Guild Wars 2 progress into esports and see tournaments and things that are accessible to everybody, not just people who are able to develop a team before they enter. They've got 5 friends already or whatever. I think it should be accessible to everyone. So I'm going to cover over what I think the solution to this is. But first of all, I think it's a good idea that we establish what the opinions of the Guild Wars community are, certainly from what I've read, based on the forums and what I think myself, and what I found from my previous experience of arena tournaments in World of Warcraft. Alright, so let's take a look at just a very quick presentation that I've put together. It took me about 2 minutes to do. I absolutely hate PowerPoint as much as you. It's really rather boring. However, this is something I consider the best way to get across my point. Okay, so I've titled this Hot Joinable Tournament System. You can call it whatever you want, but this is what I consider to be the solution, and how Guild Wars can go forward and take their game into esports. So first of all, let's take a look at the World of Warcraft arena system. The reason I want to take a look at the World of Warcraft arena system is mainly because, as much as many people hate it or whatever, it has been extremely successful, and it has been in esports for a number of years. So, first of all, the flaws largely include inability for players of a low or high skill level to find a team and have a chance to compete. Now, what I mean by this is a problem that I incurred myself. Now, even though I went quite high in arenas, I did discover that once those players have left, or your teammates no longer play, and you want to continue playing, or if you all quit together and you want to come back at another time or what have you, even if you have achievements that represent your skill level, you still find it very difficult to find a team that you work with again. You find yourself spamming trade chat and whatever, and I hate to think what it's like for people who didn't have the chance to acquire PvP achievements and whatnot that meant that they could then continue to play. So basically, the flaws with the World of Warcraft arena system really were that the people who wanted to start getting into PvP, maybe they just discovered the game, but they found that they're very good at it, and they wanted to start getting competitive. They would find it extremely hard to gather a team, or at least a skilled team, so that they could progress. Now, of course, there were many other flaws with the World of Warcraft arena system, being that you could cheat in it, there could be win trading and MMR bugging and all that kind of thing, as well as many people would argue that they hated that the arenas were sometimes buggy. They didn't like having a Z-axis in arenas, where you had Dalaran, for example, where there was multiple levels that warlocks could just portal away from you and make them unkillable, etc. However, we're not discussing that in this video. That's something that would be left up to the developers to decide as to how you can avoid the cheating and how you can make it so that it is a fair game and what have you. What we're discussing here is actually how to bring the community together, how to get people into PvP that weren't necessarily in PvP before, and don't make it such a huge curve for people to have to learn, or a huge obstacle for people to have to cross to find a team, etc. So, first of all, let's look at the reasons why the arena system was successful in World of Warcraft, and probably 90% of the reason why was because it was rewarding. The highest skilled players received titles and mounts and things that were inevitably difficult to achieve. Now, it's actually something that I heard a developer talk about many years ago, when they were creating another game that was totally unrelated to this one. However, it has played out throughout the years that I've followed games. And that developer said it is extremely important to make a successful game to make the player feel as if they are good at the game. Now, I'm sure all developers know about this, and that's why a reward system for the players who are good at the game is the reason why you would have longevity from your game. That's why esports exist, because players, as human as it is, they go after the rewards. They want to be recognized. They want to be seen as a skilled player. So of course, things like titles, mounts or skins or whatever in this game is something that is definitely going to be needed. Now, let's take a look at ArenaNet's current proposal for Guild Wars 2's tournament play. Okay, so from what I've read, daily tournaments that are going to be player organized. Okay, so a tournament will only begin when 8 teams have been found. Right. So from first of all, when I look at this, I think immediately this is going to cause even more problems than the World of Warcraft arena system did. And as I've explained previously, the World of Warcraft arena system made it very difficult for people to acquire a team, etc. Now it's going to be the case that you're still going to have to find a team, but not only are you going to have to find a team, but no games will even begin until 8 separate teams have been found. You know, and if those are of 5 people each, that's no games will take place until 40 people have found other people to play with. Now, so straight away I see an immediate problem of not bringing a community together and making it very difficult for people who aren't in a PvP community already to get into one. So the weekly and monthly tournaments are going to be based on the results of the daily ones. So again, there's going to be no weekly, no monthly tournaments unless these 40 people gather together. Now, of course, we all know, yes, there will be enough people gathered together. There will be way more than 8 teams who want to play together, but you got to remember these are going to be only people who have already played together. They already have these friends, especially at the start of the game. So what we're talking about here is how do people who don't have these teams already, how do they get them, you know? So, and as I've said in the last point there, the system does not tackle the aforementioned issue with WoW's arena system, in that even though the World of Warcraft had been out 7-8 years, so you would think that anybody who'd been playing the game would have lots of friends already, which is, I think, the laurels that Guild Wars 2 are going to rest on. They're going to say, well, you know, you can acquire a team by playing in other forms of PvP, by playing the hot joinable PvP, or by playing World versus World, and you can find people there. That doesn't necessarily happen. People like to play their own game. They like to play it by themselves. They like to chill out and you know, join some dynamic events or whatever without really having to get involved, and that happens. And you know, so there has to be a system to allow people to find a team without necessarily having to find one elsewhere. Okay, so as I've basically covered earlier, what we're going to say here is my proposal for tournament play. I think the tournament play should be hot joinable. Alright, now so what you should then do is you should track personal ratings or personal win-loss to allow the system to match you with players of a similar skill level. So what I mean here is what's going to happen is you're able to say, okay, I'd like to play competitively. It's going to join you with other players of a similar skill level, which of course at the start of the game is everybody's going to be joining together. And then you just play together. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does work, you add each other to your friends lists. You switch servers so that you can play together, and you start practicing together. And then the teams, of course, that do well are the ones who will then climb the rankings. But the point is, even people who don't have a team, they can join anytime. And even the people who get higher rated, let's say for example somebody gets, you know, rank 10 or something in the server, but then 4 of his teammates leave, so he's just by himself. But as long as the system is tracking his personal rating and his personal win-loss, it will know his rating, and it will join him again with other people who are of similar rating and who don't have teammates as well. Now, so then, of course, you say if it's hot joinable, the people who are in Skype and whatnot will automatically win. Well, you could tackle that system with an internal voice chat system, just like Xbox Live or what have you, so that these people don't have to add each other to Skype. They can immediately start with tactics together, you know, and they can start to play the game, and especially when Guild Wars 2 is trying to get across that you can play any class in any team composition as long as you play it well and you play it skilled and what have you. This really reinforces that. It reinforces the community. It reinforces bringing people together. Now, so again, as I've said in the bottom point there, players will find other players that they work well together with, and those are the ones who will rise to the top, get the titles, get the whatever the rewards are at the top. And it does mean that then you don't have 40 people who have to find teams before any games take place. You've got games taking place all of the time, matching you with other people, and so it just makes it a much more community feel, in my opinion. Finally, I would just like to summarise by saying that most PvPers, like myself, want to see a competitive and rewarding system that is accessible to everyone. Now, the reason I want it to be accessible to everyone is because I don't want it to just be the best of the best, or the people who've got 5 friends or 40 friends to be able to play. I want everybody to be able to play, because then, again, you want the feel of a PvP community. There wants to be a distinct difference between a PvE community and a PvP community, you know, and you want the PvP community to come together as much as the PvE community, and ultimately more people equals more competition. So of course we all want to see a system where more people can take place, or more people can take part. Sorry. So things like rewards, titles, armor skins, even the new PvPers would like a chance at getting them. You know, not just the people who who go after titles or gladiator in World of Warcraft or whatever. Even the newest PvPers would like the chance. And I think with a hot joinable system like the one that I'm proposing, I certainly think that even the newest of players would then be matched with other new players, and they would go as high as they can go, and they can develop the skills they need to get even higher. So if you just let me know in the comments below what you think about this idea, or whether I should bother making any more ideas or anything like that. I just wanted to share my opinion. So thanks very much for watching.